Hello and welcome to Football Tactics with Coach Reese. In today's video we're going to take a look at Graham Potter's Brighton, who although sit quite low in the Premier League at 16th, have received a lot of plaudits this season for how they've approached the game. So in this video we're going to take a look at the tactics that Brighton use. But quickly before we get started, hit that subscribe button, help a coach out. So in the Premier League this season we've seen Brighton use mainly a 3-4-3 formation. They've occasionally used a 3-4-2-1 or even a 3-5-2. Now Brighton, as most teams in the Premier League, have been hit by injuries, but this is the most common lineup that they've used throughout the season. So let's start with how Brighton approached the game when in possession. As we would expect, Brighton in the initial phase built up with three defenders, with Webster and White moving slightly wide and Dunkel remained central. With the three central defenders and the goalkeeper, Brighton are able to create their first initial numerical advantage. With these four players here, they will have a numerical advantage against most three-player lines or even two-player lines. This can really help Brighton achieve playing out from the back. They can achieve much more success with a lot more options available. As this is happening, we will see the left wing back and right wing back remain really wide in zones 1 and 5, and they'll be quite high, on a similar line to the two central midfield players. In this initial phase we will see Brighton try and play into midfield. This is done through Webster and White, who will play into their two central midfield players or the wing back on their side. Although we will see Brighton more often than not try and play out short, they're not afraid to play long diagonal passes, and this is supported by the fact that they hold the third highest attempted long passes this season of 63. Positional play is something that we associate with Brighton, and as the ball begins to progress forward up the field we can start to see Brighton move into a more traditional positional play shape, which tends to be, in Brighton's case, a 3-2-5. This is done by the left wing back and right wing back playing really high and joining that final line with the inside forwards of Mopé and Trossard operating in the half spaces, with Connolly remaining central. The 3-2-5 is a very common shape for teams who use positional play, and the advantage that Brighton have when building it from a back three is that you don't have to have players moving between lines, as you may have if a team's using a positional play approach with a back four, where you might see a central midfielder drop into the defensive line, or a right back move a little bit narrow to create an asymmetrical back four. So when you have a back three, all the players are in the right positions. So what you essentially get is you don't get much movement around between lines. This is probably why we've seen Thomas Tuchel do a similar approach at Chelsea. While he's integrating players with his positional play approach, they've adopted a back three. As Brighton move further up the pitch, we start to see a large amount of demand placed on their wing backs. Firstly for crosses into the box, as we see that Brighton average around 20 crosses per game. And until his injury there was a large demand on Lamptey, who is probably quickly becoming one of the first names on the team sheet for Graham Potter. He was excellent in attacking threats in 1v1 situations, and because Brighton use a back three, this can provide a lot of protection for Lamptey to be expressive. Lamptey is a very physical, athletic player, so he can recover quickly if he's more advanced up the pitch. Should the ball transition and Brighton needing to defend, Lamptey can quickly recover into the defensive line, so he's given a little bit more freedom than March on the other side, who was a little bit more narrow and attempted just to remain available for protection on transition. The next area of focus when in possession is the midfield two of Brighton. What we would find is that Brighton would stagger these midfield players, so one of them would move higher, one of them would move lower. The one lower is just to provide protection, but the most interesting part is the one who's higher. So the midfield player that moves higher will try and create a diamond with the two inside forwards and the striker. This is allowing Brighton just to create that overload in these advanced areas. This can also allow the inside forwards to really attack the box from the crosses that Lamptey or March might put in. When out of possession, we've seen Brighton adopt a high press. And this is no surprise really because of the amount of players that they commit forward when they've got the ball. A high press seems the obvious way to go. Brighton's press is very aggressive, so what we will actually see is all 10 outfield players in the opposition half, as Brighton attempt to suffocate the opposition when playing out. Brighton are very effective when pressing, and to do this they'll use a diamond. The first one is very similar to how it looked in possession, with one central midfield player moving up to support the inside forwards and the striker. The other diamond is created by a wing-back taking the role of the far side forward. So for example, if it's on the opposition's left, we would see the right wing-back, right wing, striker and a central midfield player create that diamond, with the far side forward just protecting the space and being prepared should the ball switch across and he need to be involved in the press. When Brighton move into their mid and D blocks, we start to see common traits of most 3 at the back formations, and their out possession shapes will start to resemble a 5-4-1, with the wing backs tucking in alongside the 3 central defenders, the 2 inside forwards moving in alongside the 2 central midfield players, and the striker just at the top of it. This is a relatively difficult shape to break down, and as we can see that Brighton have only conceded 36 goals this season, they've had some success with it. The first advantage of it is if a team try and play round the Brighton block and put crosses into the area, Brighton have got 3 central defenders there who are ready to clear the box. Also, if the opposition try and play through the block centrally, Brighton have a large amount of players in there who can restrict passing options and space. And this is something we've seen Brighton try and do. They've often tried to force the opposition into central areas where they've got a large numerical advantage, so they can suffocate the ball quickly and regain possession and ready to build that counter-attack. So Graham Potter has shown himself to be really strong tactically with Brighton this season. One of their main issues has been scoring goals. With only 29 this season, it's become a little bit of an issue. Although they're probably in the relegation scrap, I do think that Brighton will be fine. And I just hope that Brighton can back Graham Potter in the summer and potentially bring in that goal scorer that they probably need. If you have enjoyed the video, do remember to like, comment and subscribe. I've been Coach Reese, and I will see you in the next one.